Thank you. I'm going to give you a bit of a contrast tonight. I'm going to first of all, read three very old poems that I've written, and then three very recent poems, one written yesterday. So I'll start off with the Cabriolet, which was inspired by the green cabriolet that was parked in the street outside our house. Down at the barn dance, we heard the band play as a tall blonde-haired suitor whisked me away. His feet were so nimble, his manner blasé, but he took me back home in his cabriolet. On the doorstep we smooched in a passionate way. His breath tasted faintly of sweet Beaujolais, but he didn't come in when I asked him to stay, just sped off like the breeze in his cabriolet. I woke up next morning, bright as the day. My maid served me toast on a real silver tray. She said there's a note with a lovely bouquet. Could it be from the man in the cabriolet? Well, I was excited and in great disarray, and before I could leap from below my duvet, the doorbell was ringing, ting-a-ling, ting-a-lay, and outside stood the man with his cabriolet. Hello, darling, I called from my balcony bay. I'm sorry, I'm still in my silk negligee, but I'll be down in a mo, please don't go away. And so he waited for me in his cabriolet. 10 minutes later, hair boofed up with spray, and my dress a deep flattering décolleté, and my cheeks the blush colour of vintage rosé. I climbed daintily into his cabriolet. Before we drove off, he said, by the way, my name is John Paul de Parmentier. I'm single and solvent and I like croquet when I'm not out for a spin in my cabriolet. He continued, you're pretty and clever, I'd say, and your delicate nose is quite retroussé. I beg you right now to become my fiancée, and we shall be wed in my cabriolet. I ummed and I awed as a means to delay my answer to such naivete, but then I said yes and tried not to betray that I'd fallen in love with his cabriolet. So I chatted of churches and bridesmaids in May, of tiered wedding cakes and a floral display, and John smiled non-stop, he beamed like a ray as he drove at top speed in his cabriolet. Then all of a sudden, the car seemed to sway, the wind buffeting it on the dual carriageway. And John, hand on head with a look of dismay, seemed hardly at ease in his cabriolet. As we swept down the crescent towards a cafe, the wind caught John's hair and blew it away. He looked so much balder without a toupee that I fell out of love with his cabriolet. Right, next poem. Thank you. I went for a lovely holiday to Madeira, goodness knows how many years ago, and this poem was the outcome. Madeira. If only Madeira were nearer, then happily I would meander under the blue jacaranda. Meander, I say it with candour, because after the sweet heavy wine, I walk in a wobbly line. If only Madeira were nearer, for the sake of the tea and the cake, and the view at the villa cliff. If only Madeira were nearer, then our lives would be simply superior. My next poem, thank you. My next poem is called The Magical Sail, and it's set locally in Leeds, and it could work as a children's poem, really. The magical sail has come to town. A tent is pitched on Woodhouse Moor. The stalls are piled with bric-a-brac. There's books and jewellery galore. Come buy a dragon at 50p, the trader's yelling. It's a winner, because the beast has fiery breath. You'll never have to cook its dinner. Or how about a magic carpet, an ideal gift to send abroad? No packaging or postage costs. It flies there of its own accord. Or magic rings, they're going cheap. This one's invisible to all. It won't be stolen easily, the vendor bellows from his stall. I bought the dragon and the carpet. I attached the dragon to a chain. I rolled the carpet on my shoulder and thought I'd catch a local train. But as I left, the heavens broke. Dismayed, I tried to look aloof. Dragon and carpet were dissolving like sugar, both not waterproof. I stood there wet and miserable, and this might sound a silly thing. I might have felt less cheated if I'd bought the magic ring. Thank you. Thank you. Now for the very recent poems. The first one's based on a wish of mine to escape or disappear into a painting. It's called Retirement. They're trying to find me. I went to live in a crumbly cottage in a painting in a gallery, a bright as bunting painting, pebbled with sea and sky. My hand-stitched wild garden flops with delphiniums. The washing line swings in the wind. Pink blouses and trousers sing in the wind, heart flutterers. The world I left behind stands still. The beach sprints down the slope. The tide steps up hopelessly. I'm hiding behind a mulberry tree in my blousy polka dot dress. Only an artist might spot me. Thank you. Next, a very short poem, a 3-line poem, using a Korean poetic form called the Sijo. The title is Christmas Scene. White lie of snowiness, I unhook you from the distant hills, drape you around my shoulders, a softly falling bathrobe, and take myself to bed, having scoffed the cherry liqueurs. And finally, yesterday, I reacted to a prompt at a workshop to write a poem based on the word loose. And I chose the phrase loose women, which I don't particularly like as a phrase. Right, loose women. Loose women flop around, their arms drop off, their feet skitter, their tongues loll, drooly droll, their joints roll every which way, their fingers dingle dangle, giant tears drip from their eyes. They take it so bad, so badly. They tighten their jaws, clench their fists, knit their brows together. Our knees aren't weak, they bellow. Our knees aren't weak, they holler. We stand upright, they declare, and collapse into heaps, soft bones bending on the granite floor. Thank you.
Thank you. My first poem is about being on the North Yorkshire coast. It's called Towards Filey. The beach is a strip of sun arcing through 26 degrees of heat. I've 45-degree slopes to clamber down, the sheep scattering like cloud. Ahead, Filey Brig is a long red wedge reaching out into a great North Sea, while behind, the white cliffs of Bentham shimmer as if drifting into a dream. Late last night the stars were naked and unashamed, proud to be found again. Time, eternally reborn at every moment. What is seen today will bypass the spheres. A butterfly on the garden wall, a blue brooch on red brick, an atom of an ant, a planet-sized ocean. Tomorrow, a slow train home. The sea will fold in on itself. The map of 10 square miles will fit in my pocket, but nothing will ever be gone. Thank you. My second poem is called Helping Grandma Move Out. I found my roots in an old tea chest that my grandfather took from work. His inkstand, his chess set, his Sunday best shoes, 3 billiard balls and 2 snooker cues, 10 foreign coins in a cigar tin, safari shirts in a wicker bin, a map of walks in the Yorkshire Dales, a pewter mug for old pale ales, a spirit level and pocket watch, a cedar box complete with latch, an old cloth cap to cover his thatch, where the war had left a balding patch by the tender age of 24, sketches of flowers, and what's more, drawings of Venice in ink and pen, one ration book for Ronnie Ben, an owner's guide to the racing pigeon, a cross, and an atheist's guide to religion. Love letters, love poems he sent to Maud, the only woman he ever adored, wrapped up in a bundle with hers to him. She reads them now as the light grows dim. There's a tear in her eye and we're nearly done, as memories pass like the setting sun. Down at the bottom in colourful hues, a set of oil paints he never used. I take them out so I can see. I like to think they're left for me. On a walk in the Dales, he turned to me. Perhaps he was only playing, and in a low and sombre voice, I still recall him saying, "From yonder peaks, look down on the sight. In God's own county, all roses are white." This one kind of follows on. It's a short poem called The Glitter Box. When I was a child, it was a necklace of diamonds. They scintillated in ballroom dances, maybe in Blackpool Tower. Now in a box of fake jewellery, they gather dust. Cut glass in brass, gone green at the edges. God bless, Grandma. Thank you. This one is called Cave Painting. Those are traps you see, over the horse, above the hind, the hopes and prayers of man. Ghost hands branded on the wall, not to some other world, but here where the kill takes place. Abstracted traps making patterns in the air, pretty shapes like clay, but full of murderous meaning. Man's mark. Thank you. This next one is called What the Table Did. What the table did. Put on a tablecloth dress with purple paisleys on a yellow ground. Lit a candle and held a private dinner for two. Fast naked in summer sun where its skin peeled and cracked. Moisturized with varnish on its face. Extended itself to the limit. Still crammed in too many people at the Christmas party. Moved from kitchen to conservatory, then back again, finding a place to settle, but lost a leg in the uprising of 2018, donated wood to a garden bench, died in the tip with a screw loose. Thank you. This one is called Spellbound. It begins, as always, with the wings of a bat. The rest I tailor for you. A file of shine from the sun, a drop of fresh dew, taken from white petal of daisy or rose, so mornings are new. For sleep, the charm of a lover yet met, scent of honey, lily balm, moon silver I'll sift, and you will lift beyond body and harm. Take the light from a tree and the darkness of its trunk. From this gentle strength all colours will come. Drink to the spirit of a fallen leaf and see an end to grief. This is no hokum, your heart no longer broken. The world seems set in its ways, now is the world held open. Thank you. Just got two more left. This one is called Fabrication. Eunice was bored. She wanted to change herself. So she took off her dress and cut it with scissors. She made holes and cut strips. She shortened the arms and raised the hem. She stitched all the edges. Then she removed the shiny pearl buttons and the ribbons. She sewed for a long time, though there was no time to measure, no space to move in, and no light to see by, until Eunice, finally satisfied, put on her new dress and declared, "I am done." At her feet lay all the buttons and ribbons and fabric she discarded. Eunice scooped everything up in her arms and threw it in the air. Then she blew and blew until all the old bits of dress flew into the darkness where they gathered and circled. The ribbons made the arms of galaxies floating through the air. The ragged cloth made nebulas, and the buttons were stars. And all the fabric of the universe came from the dress of Eunice. Thank you. And my final poem is called Collide. Why must love be read? My view is stuck in memory. The elements shatter, then I latch onto a forgotten thought, and the patterns hold for an instant. I settle on a feeling only for it to change. Red, the colour of love, fragile as glass, splintered. Green for envy, then the blue creeps in. Kalos, the Greek for beautiful. She is with another, and I am left to pattern match every woman I meet with her. I twist, and somehow the beauty holds through smoke and mirrors. They say the universe will end in chaos, but still the universe insists on creation. Thank you.